The Mavericks look for their first 3-game winning streak since mid-February as they get ready to say goodbye to Kessler Edwards. We'll get you ready for tonight's game. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs. Appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports for our pregame show as the Dallas Mavericks visit Karl-Anthony Towns and the New York Knicks tonight with tip-off at 6:30 p.m. We'll get you ready for tonight's game over the course of the next hour, half hour. Can't do an hour, KG. That's later on. That's for the post-game show a little bit later on. We'll do that for an hour as we're obligated to do that for that portion of time. We'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, during our post-game show later on this evening. But game number 73 tonight for your Dallas Mavericks as they visit the New York Knicks. Tip-off at 6:30 p.m. If you're going to be watching the game, you can watch it on KFAA Channel 29 and also on Mavs TV, as well as your Mavericks at 35-37 on the season, 15-21 away from the American Airlines Center. Take on a New York Knicks team, 44-26 on the year, 23-11 at Madison Square Garden so far this season, where the Knicks are a 10.5-point favorite tonight with the over-under at 225.5. We'll let you know who's in, who's out, and our Mavericks player spotlight, as well as we already see some messages from Oscar. Thank you, Kessler Edwards, and from Sarah. This makes it sound like Kessler.
I did not mean to do that.
Wow, you're doing
I meant to like
you don't even worry about it. Sarah says this makes it sound like Kessler is dying. He is not, Jason Kidd.
Can I make a prediction?
Bring it down into
Kessler.
the microphone.
What? Are you?
How do you salute someone?
Yeah.
All right. Bon voyage.
You can go all the way, but yeah, don't go up.
I'm not. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I feel like you bring it down. And
the fact that still like 45 seconds later, this is a conundrum for you. It's kind of hilarious.
I'm really disturbed by that.
My prediction is that Kessler Edwards is going to play another regular season game for the Dallas Mavericks after tonight.
Oh, okay. He's going to be re-signed as the two-way guy. I mean, on a standard contract.
I know I didn't quite end that with the vocal cadence that would imply that I was done, but like you guys seem stunned by that prediction. Was it just that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it feels like you've been pretty steadfast that Kessler isn't the guy.
Yeah.
That's been my take. That's the guy to keep.
Yeah.
But
I've been on the Brandon Williams train.
No, I think Brandon Williams is the player I'm most excited about maybe being a rotation player. I think Kessler Edwards obviously is the player you got to keep. And
do you think they keep two, like Stein said?
Well, he didn't say that. He said it's a possibility. It does seem like
important clarification.
Yes. I think they may end up doing that. I think there's a lot of beneficial reasons to go ahead and do that. And I would imagine if Dallas does end up going that route, then Edwards for sure is going to be one of them. I don't know who the second would be, but Edwards for sure would be one.
I think my predictee for that would be, because they can't do that until April 12th.
For the record, you use the same number of syllables.
That one did not shorten. You could have just went prediction.
So I actually don't mind you shortening words, but I do have an issue when you shorten it.
Predictee is easier to say than prediction.
Disagree.
Anyway,
As
I was saying, I'm guessing it'll depend on how they fare the rest of the year, right? Like, I don't think they're going to rush to make that decision because let's say they end up losing a bunch of games, Phoenix stays hot, they're not going to make the play-in. Why would you waive someone just to sign someone? I guess, like, unless you just really aren't going to keep Dante no matter what, if Dante is the guy.
Maybe you give him an opportunity to catch on with a playoff team.
I mean, Dante's the only...
he wouldn't be eligible.
Well, so Dante's out for,
he's gone.
He might be able to play in halfway through the first round, and
So he's done for the season. Got it.
So he's like, yeah, I'm not.
I can come back in early May.
Right, exactly.
See you next year.
I know that you guys, I knew that you guys have a slightly different feeling about this. I am not whatsoever convinced that Dallas will not be playing Oklahoma City in the first round. I am like,
Yeah, but what about after that?
Well, yeah, after they're not beating the Thunder. That I'm not saying.
So Dante Exum's out for the rest of the season. Got it.
Well, he might be able to come back halfway through the first round of that series, but
It would be that soon?
It's been
What is the
4
time?
weeks?
Had they given a timeline at all? I honestly do not remember
They said
that
4
email.
weeks. They said
They
he'd
said
be
4
I thought
weeks?
it was
Okay.
6 weeks.
No, they said he'd be reevaluated in.
Oh,
in 4
reevaluated
weeks.
in 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean he's necessarily back, but it's also his left hand. It's a broken bone to his left hand. It's not a shooting hand. That's a different situation. He left in the Rockets game. So that was the 14th. So April 14th would be a month. And that is the day after the season ends.
That's right.
So it would be before both playing games. However, reevaluated doesn't necessarily mean. On the flip side, you have to consider that there has been, notable, meaningful reporting that even Dallas was unsure whether they wanted Anthony Davis to come back. That the main reason Anthony Davis is coming back is that Anthony Davis wants to come back. He wants to come back. And so you do have to understand that Dallas is not, totally ignorant of their situation. So if you have a situation where Dante Exum, even if he would play against the Thunder, and the option is the Thunder. We already saw Dante Exum struggle against the Thunder. I don't think anything about the very short amount of time that he's played this season indicates to you that he's going to have a better time this go around. So if you are not planning to re-sign him, if you are not in the Dante Exum business, and you want to go ahead and waive him and then have 2 roster spots, and then also get ahead on locking up a few 2 players that you like, that you want to keep around. They're going to be under contract going into next year. That is doing some business early and doing it in a way that you can't do once the season ends. So I see that as plausible, and I also see it kind of fits the vision of this team that, they're at least, they're not going, what did I keep saying last night? They're not going total war when it's, when it comes to, just losing out and maximizing the draft pick, but they're not so, blind to the fact that this is not that this is a team that's not going to win a championship this year. So there's some reason to just get ahead on some business that would make sense. It just would take you being absolutely sure as a front office that you are not interested in signing this guy. Usually those decisions, yeah, you have a sense, you have an idea of it, but usually you don't make those decisions like right now. But there is a deadline, a timeline, if you're going to go this route, that you would have to make that decision right now. Again, there's nobody else on the roster that makes sense. Nobody else except Spencer Dinwiddie, who, is playing 30 minutes a night, is, doesn't have money on the books next season. And the Mavericks end up waiving someone who has money on the books next season. That will be the third dumbest thing they have done this season.
All right. Let's get you set up for where both these teams are coming into tonight's game. Of course,
maybe second.
Mavericks are 11th in the Western Conference, tied with the Suns with the same 35-37 record. But of course, the Suns own the tiebreaker currently right now and are 10th in the West, holding down the final play-in spot. Dallas still has won 2 straight games, looking for their 3rd straight win. Their back-to-back wins over the Pistons and the Nets, the first time they've done that since February 12th and 13th, looking for a 3-game winning streak, which they haven't done since mid-February. 4-11 overall in their last 15 games are the Dallas Mavericks, 12-12 against the Eastern Conference so far this year, 14-23 against teams above 500. Mavericks on the second night of a back-to-back, of course, winning last night in Brooklyn over the Nets, and they will get back on the floor on Thursday when they take on the Orlando Magic as they continue their 4-game road trip. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks sitting at 3rd in the Eastern Conference at a full 8 games behind the Boston Celtics for the 2nd seed. New York 2-2 in their last 4 games. Overall 4-4 since losing Jalen Brunson when he turned that ankle against the Los Angeles Lakers as these continue to work back from that ankle injury. The Knicks coming off a win on Saturday at home over the Washington Wizards. They're 14-12 against the Western Conference this year. They have been whooping bad teams all year. They are 33-9 against teams 500 or below so far this season. They're finishing up their 3-game homestand. They're on the first night of a back-to-back themselves. They got the Mavericks tonight, and then they'll welcome in the Los Angeles Clippers tomorrow night to complete that back-to-back as they continue their homestand at Madison Square Garden. That gets us into our lead story for tonight's game. The Mavericks continuing to play and battle for play-in position in the Western Conference. As the Mavericks, as I mentioned, looking for the 3-game winning streak for the first time since February. As you can see, taking a look at the Western Conference standings right now, teams 7 through 13 as we look at it, with the Phoenix Suns currently at 35 and 37, again holding the tiebreaker over the Mavericks, who were sitting in 11th. The Portland Trail Blazers 3 games behind Phoenix, as well as the San Antonio Spurs, who are at 31 and 39. But what's interesting here, gentlemen, the Sacramento Kings have found themselves losing 3 straight games. They are now 35 and 36. They just sit 1 game ahead of both the Mavericks and the Suns in the loss column. The interesting part about this, though, is the Dallas Mavericks do not own the tiebreaker over either Phoenix or Sacramento. So if the Mavericks do want to, in fact, get into the play-in, they would need to finish better record-wise than either the Suns or the Kings to secure the 9 or 10 spots in the Western Conference.
What if it's a 3-way tie?
Then the
Have
Mavericks
we done the research on that?
Yeah, the Mavericks will be out because they do not own the tiebreaker over the Kings or
but
the Suns.
3-way tie, I think it does total. I believe the first tiebreaker for 3-way tie is total head-to-head. Do you know that off the top of your head, Bobby?
3-way tie is aggregate head-to-head between those 3 teams. Yeah.
So very likely they would be also losing that. Yes.
So there you go.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you.
I was just testing our knowledge. Like, I didn't know.
I mean, all those games the Mavs lost to the Kings by 1 point or 3 points, or whatever. Like, those are looming pretty large right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't mess up that DeMar DeRozan double team. It's a different looking picture at this juncture.
Yeah, that overtime game was a doozy for the Mavericks.
What was significant about that game?
That was the game that Kyrie got hurt, wasn't it? Or was that the game that Gafford got hurt?
I think Gafford got hurt.
Kyrie got hurt in the other time they played the Kings.
That's right. The last time they played the Kings.
Stop playing that. I'm afraid of the play-in, actually. Duck the Kings.
Duck the Kings at all costs.
Do not play them. Something bad will happen.
Also, Kessler Edwards playing in his final game with the Dallas Mavericks tonight on his 2-way contract. Him and Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams with 3 games coming into tonight. He's going to be available to play. Has been dealing with some low back tightness, but Kessler Edwards is available to play for the Mavericks. Jason Kidd discussing the impact and improvement of Kessler Edwards throughout the course of the season as he gets ready for his final game with Dallas tonight. Take a listen.
He's been great. We can talk about playing the center position, but just his development from the start of this year into this being his last game for us until if we do decide to re-sign him at a later date. But he's been great. He's done everything we've asked, and he's improved. He's shooting the ball well, and we're going to need that tonight.
And give Kessler Edwards a lot of credit in what has been a difficult season on a number of fronts. Tim, you started to point out the 2-way guys this year have been a real story. Bobby, you do the same as well, as Kessler Edwards looking to have some real impact on this team in this final game tonight. What are you looking for from Kessler in this game against New York?
What if he went for 40?
And that would be an awesome way to end his season with the Mavericks. He went for 40 tonight. Give him 20 shots. Let him just go ham and see what he can do.
I respect the framing of the question, but I think Kessler Edwards is a really hard guy to be like looking for something, if you know what I mean. I'm looking for him to be the player he's been.
Yeah, there you go.
Like
play along to get along tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
like I'm looking for him.
We're
to
a
be
yes and show.
The veteran. Veteran. The reliable. I mean, I guess he kind of does play like a veteran out there, kind of, sort of, in some ways. Just like super reliable and useful and grinds and fights and shows effort and shows a little bit of rim protection. Maybe knocks down an open 3 or 2. He's not really a 3-point shooter in the sense that teams don't guard him. But because teams don't guard him, he does get wide open shots and he takes them every once in a while. Shoots, I think the chat said, Spivvy said, I believe 45%. I was looking, I haven't checked him today, but yeah, he's a very high percentage 3-point shooter, even if it doesn't really have any gravity effect just because he won't take a lot of them. But it's absolutely an improvement. It's absolutely something that, he has been so vital. Like, think about how bleak things were for a while. Think how much worse it would be without Kessler Edwards.
More on who's in and who's out for tonight's game, plus some players that you need to know and watch for as we take a look at our Mavericks player spotlight focusing in on Kai Jones. But before we get there, let's help you win some money tonight with some picks from Sleeper.
Is that time? I've been heating up lately, folks. I've been heating up lately. You just got to deal with it. Your boy's on fire. And tonight, the winning continues. Spencer Dinwiddie, you're going to give me at least 6 assists. Najee Marshall, the knife, is going to hack and slash his way to at least 15 points. And then Karl-Anthony Towns, he's going to get a double-double. I actually haven't had a lot of luck this year with double-doubles. I've had a lot of near misses, but tonight it's going to be a near victory. I also added a little payout boost in there. It's 17% tonight. Sleeper always sprinkles in those little fun extra things to make the pick a little more enjoyable. So tonight, with my 2.39 times multiplier plus the 17% payout boost, if my $5 pick'em wins, I will win $14, $13.98 to be specific. That is cold hard cash, gentlemen, and I can withdraw that minutes after the game goes final. If you want to play along with me, download the Sleeper app, use promo code DLLS Mavs to play $5 and get $55 in free plays to use anytime. Doesn't have to be your first, doesn't have to be your last. Use them when you want them. Check the terms and conditions and download Sleeper today.
Scared money don't make money. Happy playing when it comes to Sleeper. Shout out to our guy Bobby Curl. Hope he's winning some money for his queso for tonight.
Queso's on the on my order sheet I just filed.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, y'all will be enjoying some queso.
Did you indeed do the unnamed restaurant that you were asking us?
I did.
Wow.
Thank you, Max Christie. This one's thanks to you, pal.
Shout out to Max Christie. By the way,
I'll do that one too.
Mavericks have won 5 straight games against the New York Knicks coming into tonight's game. So the Mavericks looking to continue it. They've swept the season series each of the last 2 years. So
is that going to continue tonight?
We're going to find out here in about half.
Okay, not super confident.
We're going to find out in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
We're going to find out.
All right.
Nick's going to be led by Karl-Anthony Towns. As Bobby mentioned, he's having a terrific season, averaging 24.5 points per game, nearly 13 rebounds per contest. That is second in the association this season for Karl-Anthony Towns, shooting nearly 43% from downtown in 63 games so far this year. Mikal Bridges has been hot as of late in his last 10 games, averaging nearly 20 points per game as well. OG Anunoby going holding things down defensively for the Knicks, averaging nearly 2 steals per game in his last 10 games for the New York Knicks. Meanwhile, Najee Marshall leading the way for your Dallas Mavericks tonight. He has been terrific as of late in his last 10 games, averaging 22 points per game, shooting over 52% from the field, grabbing you over 8 rebounds per contest as well. Point guard-wise, Spencer Dinwiddie, give him a lot of credit. In his last 5 games, my man's got 40 assists to just 5 turnovers in his last 5 games. 1 turnover in each of his last 5 games. That is an 8-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, and a double-double last night against the Brooklyn Nets. He's going to be leading the charge for your Dallas Mavericks. These two teams got together way earlier on this year, which was back on November the 27th, and what was a 129-114 win for your Mavericks that night. Najee Marshall, 24 points in the win. Jalen Brunson had 37 points in the losing effort. As I mentioned, Mavericks have won the last 5 times these two teams have gotten together, so hopefully that luck stays on the side of the Mavericks tonight if you're into that sort of thing. Let's let you know who is in and who's out for both teams coming into tonight. We'll start with the opposing Knicks. Jalen Brunson, he remains out with his right ankle sprain. Ariel Hukaporti. Is it Hukaporti?
Oh, I knew how to say this, but I forgot.
You want to take a stab at it? No? No? Okay.
He's German, I believe.
Ariel is out tonight. He's got a
maybe not
meniscus
German.
tear.
He's European.
There you go. Miles.
Dutch?
What?
I'll look it up.
Okay, cool.
Oh, Bobby
Miles McBride, he is out tonight with a left groin strain. Mr. Robinson, he's going to be out tonight. He's got a left ankle injury that he is managing. As the Knicks are on the first night of a back-to-back, they got the Clippers tomorrow. They're electing to save Mitchell Robinson when they see Ivica Zubac tomorrow night with the Los Angeles Clippers. Kevin McCullough Jr., he's available. He's a two-way player, and he's going to be available for the Knicks tonight. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis, as expected, out tonight with the left adductor strain. He was not playing on the second night of a back-to-back. Jason Kidd saying hopefully that he will be available on Thursday when the Mavericks take on the Orlando Magic. So something to pay attention to there. Brandon Williams, he is available tonight. He's dealing with low back tightness. PJ Washington, unfortunately, out tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. He turned that left ankle on a closeout late in the first half last night against the Brooklyn Nets. Did come back into the game and played in the second half, but he is out tonight. Jason Kidd saying during his pregame availability that PJ Washington woke up with a swollen left ankle. So we'll see what that means for his availability potentially coming on Thursday. Unfortunately for PJ Washington, though, he is out tonight. Jason Kidd also, he must have been reading my pregame notes because we look at our Mavericks player spotlight time. We focus in on the big man in the middle for Dallas, and that being
Kessler Edwards.
Not quite. The other two-way guy.
Oh, okay.
The other two-way guy. Kai Jones, who's been playing well in a Dallas Mavericks uniform. 13 points, 9 rebounds last night against the Nets in the win, going 5 for 5 from the field. Check this out. In 4 games with the Dallas Mavericks so far, he scored in double digits in all 4 games, and he is 27 of 30 from the field in his first 4 games as a Mavericks uniform. 90% field goal percentage. That is the first time a player in NBA history with at least 30 field goal attempts has shot 90% or better in his first 4 games with a franchise. Shout out to Elias Sports Bureau for that particular note there, as Kai Jones has been playing well for Dallas. Jason Kidd talking about Kai Jones' impact so far with Dallas as the Mavericks get ready to take on the Knicks tonight. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I think when you look at what Kai has been able to do for us from those couple hours that he was able to put on his uniform, he got hurt in that game, but he was 23-9, I think, and just talking to him and asking him to just keep it simple. And his talent level is extremely high, and he's been really, really good for us. We talk about the vertical game, but also his decision making, his passing is something that we've kind of have learned watching him here in the couple games that he's played. He's made a lot of good decisions for us, and so I think he feels comfortable, and to the coaching staff and to his teammates, making sure that he is comfortable because we need him.
Kai Jones, a springy, athletic big, likes to get out and finish in transition. Had one of the highlights of the night last night, catching a lob from Spencer Dinwiddie in transition, nearly hitting his head on the side of the backboard. But Kai Jones has been fun to watch given the opportunities that he has been getting, and he will get more of those as we go down the stretch here in the final 9-10 games of the regular season. And Kai Jones will get that chance tonight against the Knicks.
Yeah, obviously Kai Jones was someone who did not totally lose his first chance in the league just because of talent. There's a lot of off-court stuff. Fortunately, seems not as morally repugnant of off-court stuff that has affected other careers.
Whoa.
So
Jesus, man.
I mean, there's guys like Kevin Porter in the NBA still right now, and that's just gross. Kai Jones was more about, his own mental battles, and I'll leave it at that, but it's great to see him have his second chance. It's great to see him back in the, back getting this chance with Dallas. He's embraced it and done far better with it than he did with the Clippers. And I just, clearly there's some talent there, clearly, so I think it's cool that he's getting a second chance.
Hold it together, Tanner, damn it. Hold it together.
Sorry.
What did I say specifically?
Well, you said you were trying to say that something is affecting him, but really what you said is that he's just been a little effective, and you kind of
I said effective.
You flipped it.
Sure you did.
I
wrong
heard
valve.
myself saying that one, and I thought you guys were still reacting to the first one though. So
can I share a stat with the old gentleman?
Sure.
So how about over the last 5, over the last 10, and over the last 15 games, and since the All-Star break, the Mavs lead the league in drives per game. This is totally wrong. Before the All-Star break, the Mavs were nowhere near the top of the NBA in drives per game. Before the All-Star break, they were down near 10 or 12, close to the league average. So, basically what's had to happen, obviously a lot of those games, all of those games since the All-Star break, no Luka, and a lot of those games, no Kyrie. All of those games, no Lively. A lot of those games, in fact, I think all of them, no Gafford. And so what the Mavs have had to do is spread it out to guys like PJ, who just came back, and Najee, and Max Christie, and Dante for a little bit, and Spencer, and all these guys that aren't running pick and roll, high spread pick and roll, where it's drive, around the screen, take 1-2 dribbles and look to kick it out to a 3-point shooter. It's been you have to get all the way to the rim and try and finish or make more difficult kick-out passes from below the rim where it's just tougher to get good angles to make passes. But with Kai down there now hanging out in the dunker spot, if you're able to get past your man one-on-one and get all the way to the lane and all the way to the rim, help is going to come from a very short distance away, and you're going to have a dude hanging out in the dunker spot waiting to catch this pass and go up and dunk it. So, there have been plays that he's made, super athletic plays, super skilled plays. He's had some turnarounds, some things that are really impressive. But I also think that what we're seeing is just, God, it is nice to just have a large person out there to give the ball to. Kessler Edwards was kind of hanging out in the dunker spot for a while, and he did well, and he's like 6'7", and he's never done it before. And he did a pretty good job. So, it's not just kudos to the player, to Kai or to Kessler or whoever, for doing well in that role. It's also shout out to the other guys that are putting it on the floor and making something happen. The Mavs can't just resort to ISO ball, Kyrie do something amazing, or Luka do something amazing. Everyone is having to earn it. And, Kai is reaping the rewards of a lot of their hard work.
And he will be in the starting lineup tonight for your Dallas Mavericks. Your starting five for Dallas: Spencer Dinwiddie, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Kessler Edwards in his final game as a Maverick, and Kai Jones is your starting five. So again, Spencer Dinwiddie, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Kessler Edwards, and Kai Jones, your starting five tonight for your Dallas Mavericks.
Kessler's going to play the power forward?
Looks like it.
The 4 spot? Is he ready for that?
Might as well be.
Big adjustment for him.
He has been, though.
Mavs going double big in the lineup, huh? Starting 2 centers?
It's funny how, correct, right, exactly. Last night was the biggest lineup they've had, in the last, 6-7 weeks, with Kai Jones and Anthony Davis in the starting lineup, given their big man situation. And yes, Kevin, Anthony Davis out officially. He said last night he was not going to be playing. Jason Kidd saying earlier today, or during his pregame availability, that he helps Anthony Davis will be able to play on Thursday against the Orlando Magic as they continue their road trip. As we finish up here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show, remember, tip-off at 6:30 p.m. You can watch the game on KFAA, Channel 29, if you have DirecTV, or on Mavericks TV as well. Some X factors going into tonight. If you're the Mavericks, you got to put some pressure on the New York Knicks. This is a team that protects the basketball extremely well. 4th fewest turnovers committed per game this season are the Knicks, a team that does protect the ball well. It's going to be interesting, though, because the offense been okay, not great without Jalen Brunson, and they're 4-4 overall. But interesting to see how the Knicks handle their primary ball handling responsibilities. I imagine guys like Josh Hart and others will have the ball in their hands a little bit as well.
Not a lot of playmaking on that team.
Not a lot of playmaking, yeah. One of their backup point guards is Cameron Payne. So
has had some big games against the Mavs over the years, much to my chagrin.
So maybe be on campaign watch and alert tonight. Also, if you're the Dallas Mavericks, you got to keep the New York Knicks from capitalizing off of turnovers. Not only do the Knicks protect the ball in terms of not committing turnovers, but they are one of the best in the NBA. They're actually 5th in the league so far this year in scoring points off of turnovers. In fact, they average over 19 points per game off turnovers. So if you're the Mavericks, you got to protect the ball. But if you do turn it over, you cannot allow the Knicks to capitalize, because they do so quite well and one of the best in the league at doing it. Anything else, gentlemen, that you're looking from tonight's game? Obviously, if you're looking at the standings, the Sacramento Kings, they are on the second night of a back-to-back. They are hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder at 9 o'clock tonight. So they lost last night to Boston, and now they are on the second night of a back-to-back hosting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a hellacious back-to-back, by the way. You got the reigning champs one night, and then you got the number 1 team in the Western Conference coming in on the next night. So the Kings got some work to do tonight as well. Suns are off. They will be back in action tomorrow, so they'll be watching potentially the Mavericks tonight as they take on the Knicks. So if you're wanting the Mavericks to make the play-in, you're going to be cheering for the Mavericks to win tonight and for the Sacramento Kings to lose, because if that does happen, your Mavericks will slide in there to be back in the top 10 in the West by the time we get to the end.
I mean, I don't think the Mavs are mathematically eliminated from the 6th seed.
They're not mathematically eliminated, but they're eliminated from the 6th seed. It's not.
You don't get to eat any of the queso that I just ordered.
Why?
No, it's again.
You didn't put it there intentionally.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. I included 7 through 13 for a specific reason. And that's why, right there. That'll do it for us here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good and laugh hilariously at Tim throughout the course of the show.
Bad.
No, it's fine. It's great. We can come back with us during our post-game show 15 minutes after the game is over. We'll be joined live in studio by our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, for the post-game show. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curl. That is our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you after the game right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.